Let me just put out a tweet real quick before I forget. I'm trying to get into the habit of it, but it's not my usual thing, so I'll have to let it go. Anyway, we're back on my main spot, Protostar Sky Plaza. And today we're going to take a look at the interior rooms. I had actually intended these, at least the bunker house room, to be a bit of a surprise, but it seems very persistent individuals found ways into it and started kind of chatting about it with others. So rather than get annoyed with it, I just said, well, I'll just open it up, because if people can't abide by, you know, I had this kind of walled off. I had the wall right up here at the top of the stairs, but people were finding ways to get past it anyway. So rather than get fussy about it, I just decided to go ahead and open it up. So as you can see, I've turned this little room into a skating rink, ice skating rink. It's still a work in progress, obviously, and I'm still experimenting with different parts of it, but I'll just kind of take you around. It's a short tour because there's really not a whole lot to it right now, but there's a bit of a balcony when you come in. I have the idea that I'll probably put some kind of seating here. Maybe this is where I'll put possibly a vendor, you know, for like supposed hot cocoa or something up there. Down here is where you would rent your skates and other bits. I'm still trying to figure out how to kind of represent skate shoes. You'll notice on some of the mannequins that I have set up, I can get them to quit turning green. They actually have skates. It's just dinner knives turned and tilted just so that the handles don't show. And tried my best. It's the only item I've found so far that I feel really looks like an ice skating blade. I went through a ton of items trying to figure out different things that might work, because you know, you want something that even if you have to shrink it down, will look thin but still visible and bladey looking. And I tried different knives, and like the butcher blades and the cleaver and swords and some shelves. I tried tables and all sorts of other, you know, things. Anything that looked kind of bladish, and you know, but there was always some kind of an issue with most of them. Even the dinner knife, you have the handle to contend with, so it's not exactly perfectly flat, although you can't really, you really have to be kind of super observant to notice that the point is actually not touching the ground, so it's just kind of there. And of course I made the little ice streaks. Here we have a trio of Protostar eyes trying to balance on top of each other, and their little streaks. And then one of my favorite is the Freebot. I even gave him a little bit of a scarf with the combination of Chua pillows and the Merg banner, trying to give some motion to them. And then of course I made his little marks a little swirly. I didn't put skates on him or the Protostar guys or the little jolly fellow over here. It was just it looked weird, and this one just kind of plays into it that he's skating on his little wheels. But I liked the pose that he has. It really plays well with how I've set him up, I think, anyway. And of course this one, he's just having fun rolling around on the, slipping and sliding on the ice. Then we have another mannequin here. Again, used the knife blades, but the way I've got imposed and things, it still looks a little awkward. It's not exactly like what I would like, but it's the closest I could come up with so far. I'm working on a rather long bench on this side. Again, I'm still playing around with ideas as far as seating goes, what area is what. I figured this would be where after you rent your shoes, then you could come here and suit up with your skates. And of course, then it doesn't make sense because I don't have the entrance over here. I kept it on this side, so I don't know, maybe I'll put in like little benches here and you suit up here, and this is just for people wanting to watch, you know, maybe the moms and dads or something that want to watch their kiddies skate around on the thing. Now, I had originally had the buoyant crystals that gives that little wispy effect and smoky effect. I'd originally had them going below the ice, but I was afraid that people would mistake it as water, even though it's kind of clear everybody's walking on the water, and that I was intending it to actually be ice. I was afraid that the motion and everything would kind of throw that off. So instead, I've tried to make it look like simulating snowfall or just cold wintry effects. So I've left them up from the ceiling. You can see I've been playing around with like spotlights, trying to see if that would help kind of, you know, sell the little figure skating stuff or what. Up above on this balcony, you can see I've been playing around with benches. If you're curious about some of the materials I've been using, most of it is clearly the Cassian pillars. That's all I've used for the benches and the railings and the staircases. I originally put regular staircases in and used them as kind of a guide as to where I wanted to put my actual custom stairs. Because you'll see that I still haven't replaced these. There's still the brown bits. Eventually I will probably suit these up with the Cassian pillars as well, because you can see I've even readjusted some things, so there's a bit of a gap here which I'll have to fix later. Let's see, I guess probably the strangest part is the little stage area I have at the, I guess at the back of the room. Like I said, I had intended this to be kind of for the my guild. We're having a little get together on the 19th, just to kind of, I don't know if we're actually going to have an official Winterfest holiday for the guild, but as a general facilitator of some of the events, I usually put on something together for the group. And this year, this holiday is no different. Currently, well, like probably really early on in the year, I'd already anticipated that I wanted to, when they made the announcement about having the cash shop available, I decided right then and there that I was going to try and offer some things from the cash shop for my guildmates in the form of like a draw. So what I've done is, over the course of many months, I would hold certain activities, little contest, competition kind of things, and as a extra reward beyond any prizes that I might have given out for those specifically, I included things. I included the chance to enter their name into the, what I kept calling the end of the year drawing, but now it's called the Winterfest draw. And basically, I have like a whole sheet of listing of people, how many entries they've got. And, you know, some has got like 20 plus entries, and a few's got, you know, 3 or 4. It's mostly based off of their participation in other activities that I've held throughout the year, including housing competitions and screenshot contests, and just general junk. We did like a bingo game and trivia night and a few other things. So this is kind of a culmination of all of that, and we're having the Winterfest draw so that we'll see who gets all of the little nifty prizes. So I'm hoping they come up with some nice Winterfest specific cash shop items that I'm able to confidently and everything gift. Like I had wanted originally to award decor storage upgrades, decor item limit upgrades to those that participated in our monthly CBDC competitions, but as it turns out, those aren't giftable, so I've had to change my way of thinking on that. So it'll probably end up being but at the moment, I've got a set amount of in-coin that I'm looking to, spend. I don't want to go over a certain limit because obviously I'm spending real money on this. But depending on what they offer for the Winterfest holiday stuff on the cash shop, I may go a little bit beyond what I was planning, just to make sure that they have a good variety of things to choose from, because it's not going to be like I tell them, well, this is what you're going to get, and it's going to be kind of like a winner's choice when their name gets drawn and that kind of stuff. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, so while it's a skating rink and there's going to be seats and stuff, I imagine a lot of them will probably be out on the skating rink and pretending like they're skating or something. And so this will be where I do the little Winterfest draw and things like that, just kind of thanking them for all of the stuff. And so to set up kind of like a little scene, I have my version of Whoville. There's the little bag of toys and presents precariously sitting at the top of, I guess it's Mount Crumpet. And then you've got the little Grinchy Protostar guy at the top, outside his cave with his little friend. He's got like double antlers. He's got his horns and then he's got antlers along with it. And of course the little like Whoville thing. I just put together weird looking bits trying to make odd shapes and curvy shapes. And I still have to decorate the tree. And if you're wondering what the pink stuff is, we have those, I can select it here, I've got one over here as well, the microphone caroling Protostar. It's actually, I'm not sure this or the Giggle Me Gaffo plushie are actually supposed to be on the shop right now, but they have been since, I guess it was our last patch or two ago, and they're actually at no cost currently. So if you haven't snagged a couple of those yet, you might want to do that now, because no telling if they're going to change that to an actual price later once the Winterfest patch comes in. But yeah, currently it's zero cost, and the microphone, when you set it in, it gives a particular color, or mine happens to be pink. Hey Bones. But I've been to other homes that have them, and some of them are blue, some are green. I think there's a yellow one maybe. But the reason I wanted it here, it's not that the town is on fire, but if you watch, you'll see little musical notes come out of it. And I thought it was a cute idea that, here they are all around their tree singing, in that very famous scene of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, where they're singing and he's up there, being driven bonkers by it. So I thought that would, that's my idea, that's what it's supposed to represent, them doing their little holiday hoo-ha there. So that's what I've been working on. It's nothing super grand. You know, I just wanted to make a special room for my guild getting together. And like I said, I had planned to keep it closed, and I had it blocked off, but as I said, some very persistent individuals kept finding their way inside and started talking about it in the zone chat. And I thought, well, you know, my guildmates are around, so rather than fuss about the surprise being spoiled, I just said, I'll just open it up. And so here it is, you know. You can come in and visit. The way to get into the building is a little tricky. There's been a few people that have come through my plot and going, isn't there supposed to be a bunker house? And I have to kind of explain to them that yes, there is. It's just a little tricky to get to it. It's right under the tree, but you have to be kind of standing in a specific spot. Usually you get activate with, I think it's like some of the lights I'm using and things like that. But if you stand back here right by the Giggle Me Gaffo area and you come in, you should get the open door button. Like I said, it's not supposed to be like an actual integral part of the mall setup. This is just an extra little space that I wanted to use mostly for my guild. And it probably won't stay an ice rink. It'll change. It'll be one of those things that changes depending on my needs, mood, season, you know, who knows what. As for, and it's a little tough getting out because I got it kind of caged in there. As for the other room, I'm going to go a different way with it, I think. I'd originally thought maybe I would make it like an office type of deal, but I've decided I'll probably just make something a little weird inside here. So you can see I've already started laying in some bits. I discovered that the lighting and the music and the ceiling and wall treatment and everything, it appears to be shared with the interior of the bunker house, yet the walls and stuff don't change here. If I call up the remodeling options, everything that's selected is actually what I have selected in the bunker house. But in here, it remains the old spooky brick of the creepy haunted house thing. I don't know if it's supposed to be that way or not. I would imagine most folks would prefer to have a full control over how the interior of this little building looks, but whether or not that is actually intended or not, I don't know. Is it an indoor ice skating place? This one, no. The other one is, yes, it's an indoor ice skating rink, but this is something else. It's a little hard to tell because, again, it's sharing the same lighting as the interior of the other one, and the other one I have it on I think it's a snowy haze lighting. So it's hazy here and it kind of throws it off, but this is actually going to be a beach area, and this is going to be my water, ocean, sky thing. It doesn't look like much now, but as I work on it, maybe it'll start to take in shape or something. But yeah, I had one visitor come by yesterday and they were like, it's empty, what a waste of money. And I was like, well, it's not going to stay that way, you know. It just takes time for me to come up with an idea and then to actually put it into the action. But anyway, back into the skating rink. Now you notice I have the blue flare here. I kind of intended this to be kind of like, you know, you have you still have the warmth of the building here, and then when you cross this threshold, it turns into this little wintry filled room, but whether that actually plays off well, I don't know. So yeah, I think I've got a few extra pieces that I can put on my couch here. The cushions are actually backpacks, just regular old backpacks. It's the bottom of them, so everything else is sunken in and hidden, but that's the actual thing. I like using it. I've been experimenting with different things. The pieces for the bench itself, those are actually windows. Glass, metal framed glass. Let me see. Yeah, there you go. I've just opted to only use the frame of it, because it is one way to get a nice straight metal piece, as long as you can hide the glass, unless you know you want it to be showing like the railing here. But like this whole stretch of metal, that's one framed glass piece. Same way here where the stage is, and these pieces here, and all of the countertop and shelving over there, that's all glass pieces. Some are tilted into the wall and some are tilted down into the floor, just depending on what I was wanting to use them for. But it's just convenient that they're basically the same coloring as the Cassian pillars, so it all matches really nicely. Whether that's a good thing or bad thing, you know, maybe someone else would make this rink and then have brightly colored types of furniture. I had thought about using different kinds of pillows for the seating, like I've done in the past for other benches and stuff, but I decided, well, I'm just gonna go with the blue. I had some extras of the backpacks. Of course, now I'm having to buy a few more to get the rest of it in, but such is how it goes. So let's just copy that one. Copy that one, and then yeah, I've got 3 more I can put down. And it's just as quick as that. I probably need 1 or 2 more. I'll eventually get them. Oh, which reminds me, I did get a couple more towels for that painting upstairs, so I guess I'll finish that real quick before I forget. Also, someone asked me about the staircase, why it looks weird. And the best answer I can give is because of where I wanted it to start, which I wanted it to start right here, and where I wanted it to end, the curve doesn't exactly match the pieces that I was using, so I had to adjust. The stairs is actually made of like 4 or 5 pieces, because the full-on straight ones are actually double the height. They're like much thicker. So instead of having this 1 layer, it actually would have been 2, and I didn't want that thickness either for the floors or for these. So these floors are actually made up of halvesies. So there's a top half and a bottom half, even though I've kind of got them pushed together to make it look like a whole one. And the same is true for the stairs, but you'll see how like the curves don't exactly match. And like I said, that's because of where I wanted it to end and where I wanted it to start. That's why also my husband always says that I have poor driving skills, because I go from a 2-lane to a 1-lane. And again, that's because of the curve that I used. I couldn't get one to wrap around comfortably this way without it really looking super patched. So I just did the best I could. Someone else that's much more attentive to details and mathematics and is just overall better with design and stuff, probably could come up with a different way of doing it and make it look a lot better, a lot smoother. But this is my build, so this is what I come up with. Anyway, to the painting. Let's see. So we have our little snowscape here, and see if we can. I'm hoping that 2 is enough. If it's not, we're gonna have to wait a little bit more for that last one. Anyway, while I'm doing this, a reminder that tomorrow is the first day of the Advent reveal that I plan on doing. It's just a little something extra for people to hopefully enjoy. It may not impress everybody, it may not impress anybody, but I did spend some time trying to put together some little special items for the Advent house, and that starts up tomorrow. I will say that everything in it is custom. Oops. Some things you may recognize from past bits that I've done, and others are new attempts at trying to come up with interesting things. So there's the completed little snowscape. You could probably add more details, maybe add in some kind of a pathway or fencing to make it look like a little fenced path or something leading to the mountains. Rather than some additional trees here, you could have put it like a little maybe log cabin looking thing. You know, more little snow bits. You could throw in a little snow lot that somebody built. There's a lot of options that you could go with this. But I'm going to leave it like that. I don't want to do too much more. Because again, I'm kind of reserving any last little bit that I have for exterior stuff for the new Winterfest decor that should be coming out soon. Aside from that, I would remind that today, hopefully, yeah, that would be an idea. But I don't know if I'd want an animated picture. Bones suggested putting some tiny lops having a snowball fight. Maybe, I guess, if you put some like of the pink lops or the little sombrero wearing ones in there instead of the bouncing ones, that might look okay. Unless you're looking for something that, you know, is kind of Hogwarts-like with animated stuff. Anyway, there is the housing competition that Venus Rising is hosting. She should be hopefully the specifics about what criteria you need to do, you know, like as far as any particular specific theme your plot has to have, or any other special requirements before you can qualify to enter competition. All of that should be coming out today, I think, unless she's still hungover from her Thanksgiving holiday weekend. But be on the lookout for that. The link to the thread should be in my resources section on my Twitch channel page, or you can just go to the official forums, look in the Jabbit or Entity realm specific subforums. We've got a thread in both because it is open to both regions, both factions of each region. I don't know for sure all the specifics as to how many potential winners there will be, who's going to possibly getting what swag. She did kind of give a preview of some of that stuff that she's gotten that will be handed out as prizes including t-shirts, and I think it's key fobs, and like the lanyards, the little ropey thing. Let's see if I can get one off of this. Wow, I just got this all tangled up. This thing, I think she's got some of these, the lanyards. I think these were only at the PAX thing, and so you know, those are kind of limited. I know there's an orange shirt, but I don't know if there's a 2-of-1 as well. I assume so. I didn't see all the stuff. I know there's some WildStar plushies, like Mr. Darcy here. If I can get him in the screen. So, you know, even if you're not sure your house is up to snuff, once you post all of the details for that and you feel like you could get, you know, into it, do so. Even if you're not confident about winning, you never know. I know she's got a couple of judges lined up on entity side to handle NA, and then there's myself and Nelia on EU side. So we'll be visiting both Dominion and Exile homes, and she's going to be giving us a little chart kind of thing that lists the criteria that we need to be looking at for each plot, and then we just go around and start, you know, jotting down our notes and everything. Yeah, I think she's supposed to get that information out today, because the sooner she can get that out, the sooner folks can start entering, and the sooner we can start, I guess, looking at the places and everything. I don't know if she's going to do allow guided tours or anything. I noticed that in addition to Venus Rising's housing competition, there is one being hosted by, I think it's called the Black Dagger Society, but this one is only open to entity side as far as I'm aware. It doesn't necessarily specifically say that in the thread, but it's only posted in the entity forum that I know of, so I'm pretty sure it's entity only. But I think it is open to both factions on that side. So I don't have a link to theirs set up just yet, because I only just noticed it this morning. I saw the tweet and I retweeted it, but you should be able to find it in, again, the official forums and the entity realm subforum. Again, I think it's called the Winterfest Housing Extravaganza competition thing. And but theirs specifically say they're not allowing guided tours. I think they discovered in the past that, especially with the number of entries they had, organizing that kind of thing can be kind of tough, because, you know, maybe the judges have a certain period, a window of for them to get out and check out the places, but can't necessarily match those times up with whoever's wanting to get a tour. And so they're just asking people to either make their layout straightforward, so there's not a lot of ways that they could miss something or get lost or whatever, or if they do have like jumping puzzles and stuff, to give alternate routes for those that don't want to do the jumping puzzle, or maybe can't, like me, or to give specific directions, like use arrows or some other way of indicating this is the direction you need to go if you want to have them follow a specific route, rather than trying to give personalized tours. You know, personalized tours are great, but like I said, scheduling can be tough when there's a lot of people involved. But you can read all the details on that if you're on entity side. Find out more about the rules and the prizes available and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think I covered all of the announcement bits. I still haven't heard or seen any kind of official information about whether or not Carbine themselves is going to be holding any kind of housing competition. It could be that because the community is really picking up on that this go around, that they may decide not to. I don't know. I do know that they supplied Anelia with the prizes for her guilds, the one that I'm helping to judge. I don't know. I think Black Daggers is using just some cash shop prizes as their rewards. So I don't think they're getting specific swag from Carbine themselves, but Nelia did get in touch with the community team, and they were very generous in sending, and quick, and actually, because I think it was just a matter of days. They said, "Yeah, we'll get some stuff out to you, and go with it." But I kind of lost my thought. But yeah, I don't know if Carbine is planning anything or not. So I know there was some kind of hesitance about some people opening their plot up for Nilius because they don't want to spoil it, I guess. What I really think the issue is they're worried that someone's going to maybe steal their idea or something like that, or maybe just spoil the surprise, I don't know, by signing up for Nilius, and then maybe a week later then Carbine comes out and they've already entered the one, and for me, I think of it more like if there's more than one contest going on and you're eligible to enter all of them, then enter all of them, even if it's with the same plot. Carbine's judges are different than judges for the individual competitions being hosted by the community. So you never know who's, because while the judges might get a listing of, okay, you want to look at originality, you want to look at maybe the amount of customization, or you want to look at, do they stick with the theme? They use a lot of the Winterfest decor that's coming out, etc., etc. There's still the personal opinion of the judge themselves. Maybe one thing hits them as very unique and interesting as compared to something else. If you get 50 Winterfest plots and all of them are ice skating rinks, then one that does something different than that might catch more attention because it's more unique to the rest. That makes sense. So anyway, speaking of Winterfest plots, though, we will be touring some starting this Wednesday. The plan is to keep December housing tours this month all Winterfest themed to the best of my ability. I've already gotten, I think it's 5 or 6 exile homes, and there's 1 or 2 Dominion homes that I have on the list so far. So we'll probably start on exile side this week, unless I can find maybe 1 more Dominion, because I like to do about 3 homes minimum, unless it's a really expansive home that takes a long time to go through. But if I can get another Dominion home that I think will fit the criteria, then we'll go with Dominion this week. But right now it's looking more like we'll probably start on exile side for this month. But for my idea, it's not going to be, won't have to be purely Winterfest. I'm just looking for more or less snowy plots. Either their landscaping is interesting because of how they've done. Maybe they've got a snowy mountain with, a winteresque, but maybe it's not Winterfest, if that makes sense. So it doesn't have to be where everybody's just going to have, you know, holiday trees and wreaths and packages and little ice skating rinks and things like that. Just as long as it's kind of winter-esque, that's what I'm looking for. So there's quite a few that, you know, we will probably pick up as the month goes on, because more and more people will be getting their plots ready and they will be opening them up for the judges, so we'll be able to check them out as much as possible. That includes some of these that we tour may actually be in the competitions and get officially toured later, because I think Nilia's idea is to set up some videos of the winners and stuff. I don't know if she's planning to do it for everybody that enters. It may depend on how many actually enter. I mean, if you have over 100 people that enter the competition, then that's asking a lot, I think. But we'll see how that goes. But I don't mind getting to tour some of these ahead of time and just having a look around. Already got an idea. Well, that's good. Well, you'll have to let me know when you finish, Bones, because I'm always looking for new winter plots. Like I said, I think I've got about 5 or 6 on the list. I'm anxious to show those off starting Wednesday, but it's just one of those things that, you know, like I said, some people like to keep theirs closed until the last minute, until they actually have to open it for the judges, so that others can't, you know, kind of think on their idea and that kind of stuff. But no, there may be a chance that there's just so many that I don't get to all of them, but I'll try and get to as many as I can. I know there were several Halloween plots that, or Shades Eve plots that I didn't end up visiting, just because, you know, now that we've moved on into December and stuff, I'm spending my time trying to find winter stuff. So we may, you know, go back. One of the things about my tours is usually I've been like kind of just, if one catches my eye, then I'll jot it down. And what happens is I jot them down on these little post-it things, and I literally have hundreds of those things on my desk. So I end up misplacing some of my lists. And what I've started, I've gone new age. Or not new age, but electronic. I've got now a Word document that I have been starting keeping a list. And it's just a list of all the homes that I would like to someday tour. And as I do, I'll scratch them off at the list. And so I have, you know, an exile row and a column, and I have a Dominion column, and then I have some that are specifically like they're noted that they're Winterfest themed. So I'm trying to keep track. And because I know when I started the tours, I started much later than I did the actual amazing builders list. So there's a lot of older homes that have been around and continue to be around that I just never got around to visiting. I also kind of avoided those that had already been toured by others, but I'm probably going to just kind of say, if I haven't done it myself, then it's game, as long as I like the plot and I find it interesting and think other people could, you know, garner some nifty ideas from it, then it will become part of my tour list eventually. It's just, you know, there may be the chance that it's on my list for one type of build and then they change it, and then I have to like revisit it again. It's like, well, okay, I don't really want to tour this one yet because it's not maybe the particular season for it and all that, so we'll see. Okay, Bones, I'll catch you in a little while, I guess. Yeah, there's a meeting going on. Bones likes to watch from work. It's amazing that they don't get in trouble for it, but anyway, so I really don't know how to do ice skates, like just as a pair of shoes with the knifey things on here. I have no idea what I could use as a shoe. I mean, It's one of those things you wish you had a clothing item that looked like a pair of shoes. Um, I've kind of faked in shoes in the past with other things, like I did Frankenstein's like clunky boots. Those were boxes of bolts, which aren't exactly easy to work with, depending on where you have them sitting and everything. Trying to think if I used anything else that's supposed to be shoes. I thought about trying to use some plushy feet and just having them poking just the feet out of the wall, but that kind of seemed a little weird because then they would be like turned wrong or something. I don't know. And we don't really have any plushies that have tennis shoes for feet. It's like paws and claws and things like that. So I really don't know what I would want to use as a shoe. I suppose it just depends on what color I'd want them. Maybe I could get away with using an NPC foot, maybe. I don't know. I know the upper part of the body usually moves. They're like bouncing, but I don't know if the feet stand still. I could get away with that, possibly. But I don't know if that would even work. But I can't think of anything off the top of my head that has like a general shoe shape just naturally. Maybe I just have no imagination today or this weekend. I was going over it this weekend thinking, what can I use? And it hasn't helped that Wilson's Living in WildStar site seems to have gone down again. Was worried that, or I have been worried that maybe he's just shut it down because I kept pestering him about it and seeing, maybe he thought, well, I'll just shut her up and shut it down for good, which I hope is not the case. I'm hoping it's just another temporary thing, but I don't know. It's one of my favorite sites, and it's kind of like a handicap when you don't have it. So fingers crossed that it is just temporarily down. I'm afraid to contact them again and say, hey, the site's down again, because maybe it's intended to be down, and he just didn't tell me. Because I've tried contacting him about 2 or 3 times now since the last time the site went down, asking him about other things like his plans for updating and things like that, and nothing. It's like been crickets. Which is unfortunate because myself and several other people have indicated clearly that we would be more than happy to help him in the effort of keeping it updated, but I did get the feeling when I worked with him before was he's pretty like a perfectionist. One of the things, it's like he gave himself extra work because when the original site came up, at the time, the previews, these little windows here, previews, I think it was just the blue, gradiated blue screen, no kind of dark corners, no kind of like little lines or anything like that. It was just a gradiated blue screen for the background. Then later, I think it was drop 3 or 4, they changed it to black, all black. And then like the last big drop, they changed it to what it is now, which is the kind of bluish with the black corners and the gradient, and it's got these little lines and stuff in it. It looks nicer, but the problem was when he found out they had changed from the blue to the black, hey Soccer Top, even though he had tons of screenshots of already existing items, he went and redid every single one of them just so that he didn't have some with the blue background and some with the black. And I fear that he's probably like pulling his hair out when he realized that they've changed it yet again. So that means if he wants it to look all uniform, he'll have to redo every single one. And he's literally got hundreds and hundreds of items in his database already. And that's just a lot of extra work if you want it to keep all the same look. And so I suspect that's part of the reason why, because it's kind of like, you know, someone says, hey, I need to clean my room, but then they start thinking about all the stuff they have to do, and it just a molehill becomes a mountain when you start tallying up all of the junk that you got to work on. I'm gonna work from the bottom this time because I'm still trying to figure out what can I use as a shoe, a boot or shoe. I don't know. No, you'd want something that's easy to get. That's always a plus. You don't want to use some obscure item that you can't get multiples of very easily. That's always an issue. You want something that you can use without having too much problem of other things poking out that you don't want. That's always tough. I am literally a blank as to what I might could use for that. Other than just, having a block, a little wooden block, and that be it. That's all I can think of, because I mean, we don't have anything that looks really like it's got shoelaces on it or anything. Nothing that looks like it's got belt buckles on it, except maybe some crates. But then if you just put the crate down, it looks like a crate. So I don't know. That's why we need some more extras of like clothing items. A hanging jacket or coat. A folded pair of pants, and shoes. We need shoes and boots and things like that. Pair of glasses, different kinds of hats. Oh, and that's something weird I discovered with the little scarf that I made for the little free bot. I tried doing the same for the mannequin, and the mannequin moves when you do that. I think it's set up so that it can't be in collision with something else. So if you put it in too close proximity of an actual other item, even if you want that item to actually be like, because I was gonna like give her a skirt and a few other things, but when I do, she pops up, she goes boink, and you can't put things on them, which is really weird. But it was unfortunate too, because I'd actually wanted to put a skirt on her, but that didn't work, because I was gonna give her some short shorts so it looked like she had bare legs, and then give her a little like a skirt thing, but I can't because it don't work that way. It was very weird. I was very sad when I found that out. So let's see. I don't know. Okay. Excuse me. Want the block? Where's the block? I think this is gonna look dorky, but we're gonna try it. Gotta do something. It's gonna be like Frankenstein's gates or something. Let's see. Maybe I can use the rectangular one. The medium one for the bottom. It gets so small when you do that. I don't know. See, with her feet, it looks like just that shoe right there would work. I don't know. Maybe two of them side by side. Since we don't have any squares. And then that just looks completely not like a shoe. Excuse me. That looks so not like a shoe. See, I don't think I can, like, I think it'll look weird if I try and point it in, maybe. That almost looks like a wooden car. It looks like a little car. Maybe this is just too big. Maybe I should. I think that made it worse. And maybe oh, this is so awful. Welcome back, Bones. That was a really quick little meeting there. Okay, that just looks... Ooh, no, we don't want that. This looks so bad. I don't know, it could be almost a wooden foot kind of thing, I guess. Maybe this needs to be shrunk a little bit. I don't know. This looks really weird. I don't know, I guess meetings can be allowed. Where I worked, there was never any meetings except with the higher ups, and we never got to hear what they were up to. I'm gonna link all this together so I can move it onto the countertop here so that maybe I can see better what the heck I'm doing. Wow, just keeps on going. Okay, I'm gonna change this up a little bit. So it looks awful from this direction, doesn't it? Okay, first I think we'll start, whoops, with the dinner knife. We're just going to put that up here. This way I can look at it from both sides and hopefully this will give you a better idea of how hard it is to make it look like a blade of a... I need to turn this. So... This is how I did the ones in the ice. You just had to keep fiddling with it, and then I had the blade. There's the blade. Now we're gonna straighten this up for now. Whoops. Put the add on there. Okay, let me go see how big these are out here. Excuse me. I feel one of those tickle fits coming on. Okay, so the knife itself is at 122. Excuse me. Whew. It'll be a bad day for the cough. It's making my eyes water. I'm wanting to cough so bad. Okay, so there's the base of the shoe. My crappy wooden shoe. Okay, so I'm going to copy that one. And then I'm going to try and make a pointed kind of shoe. With like a wider backside there. Let's see. I want one this way. Again, it looks like a weird, like, car or something. Maybe these are too angled out. I really hope we get some other kind of holiday music, because as much as I enjoy the Protostar guys, I am getting tired of their the one tune, because I've used it in past builds and I've listened to it for literally months before, and having it come back is not as thrilling as one might think. one of those things that you know, it's different when you're going from zone to zone, or even different areas in a particular zone, because the music changes according to that. This one doesn't change, and it gets pretty nuts. But it's really the only tune I've found that I feel works well with the theme, so I've left it. But it's definitely nuts inducing. Okay, so there's my ice skating boot shoe thing. Don't know if that really looks alright, but that's what we're gonna go with until I can think of something else, which I doubt will happen. So we're going to link all of this to the block. Again, when you're choosing a parent item, kind of think about, you know, it's easier to use the rotation of this one because it's already square with the world or whatever. If you're going to use one that isn't necessarily square with it, then you might have trouble when you go to rotate it for other purposes. It may not look like you're wanting, so I always pick one that hopefully it will be easier to rotate and won't look kind of weird. Okay, so then we'll call up our handy dandy EBT. I gotta zip through all of these. I think I'm up to 30 something now. I know of one person that's got like 50 plus sets. How they keep that in straight, I have no idea. So we're just gonna call this ice skate, and then we're gonna grab the linked and we'll say add linked set. Should be good. Now, I don't know if this actually works. This is what I've been doing because I've had issues in the past where I'll make a new set, and for whatever reason, maybe I get DC'd or booted or otherwise close my game or something weirdly. I come back and the set is gone. It doesn't save. And I always just do a quick reload UI. I think that kind of like makes it update the file. Don't quote me on that because I don't know if that's really true, but I just do it because I think that's what happens. Because after doing that, I've never had a problem if I end up getting booted or otherwise exiting the game rather than, you know, not the normal way. I haven't lost a set since, so I'm hoping that I was right. Okay, so we're going to take our little skate now. Notice that the back end of the knife will force you to set up your shoe wherever you put it, always in a certain position, because you can't have that little knife handle sticking out. So let's see about putting this on the shelf and see if it will work. The shelf is fairly narrow, so that may pose a problem all on its own anyway. Looks okay. So we're going to place. Now, while I've already made the set once, it might be better if I remake the set so it's this one here rather than this one. Otherwise, I'll have to keep repositioning. And since I want them all on this top shelf, it might be better to do them like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to open that up again. Now the only thing that I mean, I say only thing, it's one of the things that I get a little perturbed about is I have to hunt down the thing again. If I clear it, it clears everything, name and everything. So I'm going to clear, I'll call it ice skate again. I'm going to link it again, add link set. So it remembers the position I've got it in. I'm going to close. Seems like a lot of mess to go through, but trust me, I've had issues with it before, and it's just better to be safe than sorry. I wish there was a way that I could just punch in the number and it would pop to the right one. I've tried it and it usually gives me an error of some sort, so maybe it's intended where it does that and it just doesn't, but anyway. So I'm placing another boot. I'm clicking off of it. Then I'm going to click back on the parent piece. And then I'm just going to move it over like so. There we have a pair. And we'll place. Now you will notice that as I'm placing the sets, there's a bit of a little bit of a small, like, few second lag. The more pieces that are in the set, the longer the lag seems to hit. Because I was having some issues with that when I was moving things around upstairs. It would kind of like just do a real big lag spike, so things would like freeze and then go about normal. I've only noticed, and I think even Katya put up a thread about it in the forums, that it was with the last patch or so that it's been doing that. It's more of a nuisance than anything. I don't really think it's anything bad. It doesn't mess up what you're placing or anything, but just be aware of it as you're doing your thing. It's just like, I think there were some people that were having issue with items disappearing. I never experienced that myself, but folks were talking about how the items were disappearing, either like little groups of it or just individual pieces would suddenly be gone. And that Carbine said that the items were actually there, it's just you couldn't see them. And it's one of those things that don't be putting new pieces in instead, because I guess, you know, they actually aren't gone. I don't know if that's actually been resolved since they mentioned it the first time. I think it's a couple weeks ago that I saw the discussion thread on that. And I was really nervous because here I was working on my plot here, but I didn't have. Did you ever have that happen, Bones? Yeah, I don't know what kind of emblem. I know there's supposed to be a Protostar, like little button thing coming out. Maybe I can use that later if I can get a hold of enough of them. I'm curious to know what items are actually going to be available for the Winterfest currency and which are only going to drop from the little expedition itself. That may play a role in how many you can get easily. Yeah, I guess we should count ourselves fortunate that we didn't have that problem. In fact, a lot of the issues that come up, I usually don't have. If I do, it's not to any extent that a lot of the others are talking about. So, I don't know. It's always. I think it's more nerve-wracking when those kind of issues aren't consistent. I would think that would make them harder to kind of figure out. Now, you'll notice I'm placing one shoe at a time. You could make a set of the pair if you want. That's perfectly okay. But I'm leaving mine kind of pairing them up, just eyeballing them. spacing them out a little bit between each pair. You could do it different if you want. Now, what would be fun is if we could repaint or had other colored versions of these particular pieces, then I could make some white boots, some blue boots, some pink boots, but since I don't have that luxury, they're all just going to be Travie Brown poopy boots. That's what they're going to be. Unless I decide to try and figure out what else I could use to make shoes. Okay, that's one kind. Let's see if we can come up with another one. How's that? First, we'll take a blade. And we'll plop it down into the countertop so we can make it nice and square. It's always good to start out with a straight item. That's what I like to do anyway. Well, I think everybody got that. Yeah, that's true, Soccer Top. If all of the Winterfest items are bind on equip, that will make it easier because people can trade them off and stuff. But I can't remember. Was there any bind on pickup in Shades Eve? I want to say there was. I know the shadeling that you got from the instance itself was bind on pickup, but you also could buy one that wasn't. So that kind of took care of that. So I don't know. Okay, so we'll start with blade. Let's figure out another one possibly that we can use. So let's go with my favorite piece, though. The fun orange pieces. Wow, this is going to be like really shrunken down to even make it look. I don't think that's going to work at all because of that pointy bit. I can fake it in though. Let's see. No, because that's going to be on both sides. Yeah, I don't remember. Well, I want to say I saw them. Well, we'll just have to keep our fingers crossed that I don't think that's going to work at all. It's the wrong shape. Because I'll have to sink it in, but then I can't make it like a thick piece because then that won't be sunk in. Just close this up for now. Looking for pieces that we have lots of. Excuse me. Maybe we can use cylinders. Gonna be really tiny though. Let's see. Just experimenting. That's the way you do this. Trying to figure out something different. Gonna be a weird boot, but maybe it'll work. A window as a base? Which window are you talking about? Like one of the long ones? Oops. Okay, I'm gonna copy the knife again, just so which window? Let's see. You talking about like this one here? I think that would be a weird one. I don't have too many of those either. I got the spooky one, but I'm pretty sure that's not what you're talking about. Arched window. Okay, well, let's see. Let's put one of those bad boys down here. I'm gonna... Let's see, let's get this lined up first. Maybe leave it like this. I don't know. Shrink it down. See, I noticed the little twisty thing is still going on, but thankfully Katya's add-on takes care of that. You want it to be like on the blade, but not like totally covering it up. Yeah, I mean, you still want the blades visible. Okay, so now what? Now what do we do? Let's see, maybe double that up a little bit. Like it's sandwich time or something. I guess that's a really long boot thing. No matter which way you turn that, still going to see the window stuff. Okay, that don't look right. There we go. You just square that off better. Now you could do this, I'm just thickening it up, but you could maybe make it like a box all the way around. It's just then you have trouble filling the hole of it. Maybe you don't want the hole though. Let's see, let's try that. So it looked like an actual hollow. Excuse me. Bring this one forward. A lot of windows for a little boot. Oh, come on. I almost had it. There we go. Like a weird snow boot thingy. That was a good idea, Soccer Top. We made it work, sort of. Kind of. Kind of, sort of. It's about as precise as we're going to get it, I think. I almost don't mind the bars because it almost, you can almost pretend those are like straps or something on it or whatever. So there we have boot number 2. Okay. So again, I'm going to pick one of these to link all of this bit up. Okay, I think that's all of these. Yep. So we'll move this over. Yeah, you could, I suppose. I don't want to get too super detailed. I know I have the decor count to the space at least to allow that, but my decor owned is getting kind of small. So I don't want to keep adding too much. Bad enough I'm doing this amount. Okay, so let's put a couple of pairs of these up there. So let's call up Katya's again. Still on the ice skate, so we'll just clear and we'll say add linked set. Let's see, those are purchasable, right? Yeah. Don't want to have it go into a whole shindig of error when I try to tell it, put it all in here and it doesn't let me. Okay, so the set is in there. We'll just do the place all. We'll just put a couple of these down. I see it would be nifty if I could like add these onto the actual mannequins and make them look like they're wearing these Renthal boots, but like I said, I tried putting some items on the mannequins and it just makes the mannequin move funny. They just pop in and up and down and to the right, and it's weird. Keep clicking that and I don't want to click it. Okay, so there's the second kind of boot. So let's see. Let's try a different cylinder. Let's let's try a Cassian one. thing. Just so I'm not using the ore and stuff. I know I like that, the ore decor. Whoops. Didn't want me to do that. Okay, I'm just fiddling with it because it gave me an error the first time because I didn't hit the place button, I just hit the... I have a really bad habit of not hitting the right buttons. Let's see, do we have a Cassian dome? Yes, we do. Like a bullet shoe. I don't know what I'm thinking about this. Is that? Yeah, that's okay. Feels like it needs an extra. Let's just rip this so it's easier from the blade rather than. Looks like it's perfect for the oran foot. Look, it's the same little round tubey thing. Oh gosh. Oops. Come on, quit clicking the stupid add-on. There we go, there's another one. Looks like a submarine ice skating shoe. Let's see. Lay out another knife in case we want to make up a new one. That's a bit gappy. Not exactly touching. Better. That's okay. But yeah, you could definitely add pillows or other kinds of doodads, like maybe parts of signs or something to make it look like there's emblems on the sides of the shoes. Maybe somebody wants to get clever and make a little Nike symbol or something on there. You could do it that way. I'm just not wanting to get that detailed with these. Simply because I don't want to spend that extra decor. Now, if we find out that, you know, it's not going to cost me that much, then maybe I will do it. But right now, I'm just looking for different ideas for the boot itself, not the decoration. The main part I was talking about cover-wise was the actual boot itself. I mean, who doesn't want pink snow bunny boots? Okay, so there's another type of boot, sort of. So we'll still the old one, so we'll just throw this out and add the new one. So that you got the cylinder ones. Yeah, it amazes me still how few people take advantage of the linking the sets and having them be pasted or whatever, you know, as a set. I say that, and then for a good long time I was reluctant to get into it as well, but that was mostly because there actually were issues with the sets not working like they were supposed to. But for a while now, most of the housing stuff has been working as intended, and you know, I say most because there are still a few quirky things about it, like when I go to move something, you'll see it rotate on its own and then it'll snap back after I stop moving it, mostly due to Katya's add-on for that. But yeah, see, there's a bunch of blades on there. You get close, then you can actually see the boots. But it's one of those things where you really need to kind of take advantage of it when you can, because it's going to annoy me that those pieces fade out so quickly. And I think it's more to do with the item itself, depending, I think, on the original size of the item. And then if you really shrink it down considerably, the more likely it is that a little bit away from it, it's going to disappear. That's the only thing I hate about. I understand the reasoning behind it. It has something to do with the rendering and dragging it down when you can get rid of some of that clutter and stuff, but it really looks weird. It's the same way with the general ground clutter above. A lot of people have been complaining about that because they gave us the option to turn it off and on, and that's fantastic. But for those that like to leave it on, with our huge plots, if you're standing in a corner of it, it looks like only half the plot has overgrowth because the rest of it looks flat, because that part disappears in the distance until you start moving around the plot, and then suddenly it starts like popping up like daisies. So I don't know. I guess it's a give and take kind of thing. So what other kind of goofy stuff? I think we'll go for one more, see if we can whip out one more type of boot, and then we'll call it good for today. Let's see. Don't want to go for the usual 2x4s and stuff. Exonite blocks, I think, will be like blinding. Don't really want to go with hoverboard, hover park stuff, because that's all kind of brownish as well. Stones are gray. This, I don't know. Don't know if pillars will work. I think they would fall into the same issue as this, disappearing really fast. I feel a sneeze coming on. Mike could make one out of a pair, you know, some deck pieces. Let's see how goofy that looks. Ugh. I hate when you like get on the verge of sneezing and then you don't sneeze, and it's just like your eyes water and your nose burns. Okay. This will probably be one of those things. It comes in really big and you're going to have to size it down, and then it's going to disappear as you walk away. I have come across a few items that I just can't shrink down as small as I want them to be. Doesn't happen very often, but it does happen occasionally. I don't know, I think this is going to be too boxy. I don't think that'll work right, but we're just going to have a look anyway. Let's see, look at that, it looks teeny tiny. I don't think that'll work right. Maybe let's look at the containers. Anything we can get. Oh, wait a minute. I typed in container. I meant to look in the container section. That kind of broadens our field there. Looking into the light, yeah. What usually works for me is like pepper and stuff, but I don't have pepper with me, so, and I'm not about to walk down to the kitchen to get that. But the light thing works for my mom. She does that. She'll like stare at the light bulb or something, and that works for her, but it's never worked for me. But it sure does burn. Let's try the airtight container. I only have a few of them, so I can't get too fancy, but maybe we can work something out. Can't use anything that's really moving because that'll look a little weird. We'll try the magnetized containers too, just to see. Maybe we can get something really weird looking. The thing is, see the others I was able to kind of shape a little bit. On these, not so much. Oh, if you haven't seen it, I think I mentioned it the last time we were on, but in the forums there's an individual that made an igloo out of these airtight containers. Really cleverly done. And I'm limited on how many I have, so it can't get too weird, but I'm gonna try and make the shape by just kind of shrinking them down a little bit as we go. Yeah, well, my mom actually does believe in aliens. So when she's staring into the light bulb, you know, it makes sense for her. But yeah, I know some people, they have to actually like shove some tissue up in there. I've done that and it works, but it's not a pretty sight. So it's, again, it's not something I'm going to be doing on the air because it just looks awful. You know, but they like twist the end and then they like, I don't know, tickle it up in there, and it's not something you want to watch somebody else do. Okay, I forgot if I'd actually done the duplicate or not. It's so bad. Whoa, 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 whoa. Cancel that. Don't hit the wrong arrow, people. Makes it look bad. Oh, come on. There we go. There's a black and white boot, sort of. It's different. I think we'll leave it at that. We'll just put this one away. We don't need any kind of weird blinky gadgets going on. So we'll create this last little set here. Again, notice I usually pick the top piece of the leg part as my parent decor. You can pick a different one if you want. Just be consistent, because then if you have to move things around again, then you're wondering, okay, what part do I click to get it to move all together? And when you have a lot of pieces to a set, that can be time consuming. So I'm going to go ahead and move the first one to where I want it to be. Then we'll save the set. Now, if you want to do it different and have like some of the boots facing the other direction, some of them kind of leaning together, like they've been toppled over or something, go for it. I'm just kind of keeping mine simple for now. Okay, so now we're going to copy this set over the old one, so we're just going to clear it and say add link set. Place all on link. Oh, see there. That's what you get for the error thing. I'm gonna have to make myself some more of the airtight containers. I forgot about that. But that's what happens when you run out of the thingies. Only got 2 errors, but it did flash up a lot of boo-hoo. But I don't know what else we might add to the shelving. Maybe more types of boots, maybe just duplicates of these on the lower shelf, maybe nothing, I don't know. Maybe we can put some trophies or something for people that's won some figure skating contests or something, I don't know. It seems like a really long counter for all of these shoes. Maybe I'll make this smaller in the end. It's just I wanted something to kind of take up the space. I don't really want to have to sit there and daydream up things for a skating rink. Mostly my focus was in the center and not on the outside. Yeah, bones, it does. Like I said, I've used it in the past myself, but what happens is, like right now, my nose is burning and my eyes are a little watery. If I actually do the tissue trick, I will sneeze like 5 or 6 times in a row, and from then on, I will be stuffy for the rest of the day. If I just kind of wait it out, then it kind of goes away and I'm not stuffy anymore. But the other way, it definitely gets that whole system going, and it's just nasty. But it feels good because, I mean, you know, but you really don't want to hear me sneeze too much on the stream, because my husband says I sound like his grandpa. I have a really loud and painful sneeze, usually, not always, but usually. So anyway, that's our little visit into Harrod's Housing World for today. Tomorrow we'll probably be back in here goofing around. I actually might skip off to my alts plot, because I mentioned that currently they've got one holiday decoration on their plot. It's the fall wreath. I'm thinking about maybe changing up a few things and adding some Winterfest decorations to that plot, so we can play around with that. Or if I do think up something new for this area or the other area, then we may be back in there. So it'll be kind of a back and forth, nothing for sure. But definitely Wednesday we will be doing some house tours of winter-esque type of plots. It doesn't necessarily have to be Winterfest, but winter-esque. Something to do with snow or wintry type things. I mean, winter usually means snow for most people, so I think you'll like a lot of the different takes on what constitutes a winter-esque theme. So hope you join me for then. If not, no biggie. Again, as I mentioned last week, I did hit the big, I guess, milestone for me anyway, of 100 followers. So I have been quietly listing out those people that have been coming in and chatting with me, who I consider my regulars. You know, they're usually the ones that come and spend time with me, and of course they follow the channel and everything. But I've been quietly writing down names, noting them down, and I will be doing so for the next couple of weeks. So, you know, if you have been a regular viewer but just haven't been really chatting, now might be the time that you want to say at least hello once in a while. You don't have to hold on to a lengthy, in-depth conversation, but at least let me know that you're there, because like I said, I don't keep my viewer list open. And I very rarely look at that at all. So I'm sure I have lurkers that are present, but I'm completely unaware of you. And I don't have any of those fancy little doodads that alerts me when people follow the channel or anything. So, you know, I don't usually say thank you on the air to a specific person, because I'm just usually unaware of it until after the fact, and I'll get a notice in my mail or something. But for those that I am noting down, at the end of a period, whether it be in a few weeks, at the end of the year, you know, maybe it'll be 1st of January or something, or maybe Christmas Day, I don't know, just whenever I feel like it, I'm going to put all of those names that I've been writing down into a little pile, and I'm going to pick one and then gift that person who has been supporting my efforts through, you know, with the housing projects that I've been doing, something made by me. It can be something like from one of my shops, like if you like one of the paintings that I've made so far, like the winter one or the sunset one or whatever, you can say, I would like that, and I will either build it for you on your plot